Good evening and welcome to it. This is Chess and Wine, and my name is ADB. Now, back with some interesting updates, interesting facts, things that you didn't know. One regarding the Mzansi Inter-Provincial, and I remember the last time I kept saying Inter-Regional, the Mzansi Inter-Provincial Youth Chess Championships, and some new interesting information regarding the Chessa Local titles. Ooh. Alrighty, so here's what's happening. First off, your comments, asked for it. Remember some of your comments, I was actually taken aback. Remember that we spoke about the titles that Chess South Africa is looking to introduce. They're obviously still going to propose this in the executive board of Chess South Africa and look for the National Council to accept it. Right, so there's the rating commission that is looking to spice things up in the chess circles, where even people that never leave the country could still earn themselves some titles, because we know it could be very expensive to leave the country. So some of those titles are Senior Master or Women Senior Master, National Master, and Women National Master. There is Provincial Master or Women Provincial Master, and there is a Regional Master or Women Regional Master. There's also junior titles, which include Junior Senior Master, Junior National Master, Junior Master. All right, and some of you actually commented saying this is just basically stupid titles. I mean, to use a very strong word like stupid. Yeah. So somebody said this is stupid titles. We need titles that is recognized worldwide. Chessa must be looking for ways to get money for the court case with the Eastern Cape. And I was just interested in the court case with Eastern Cape. I'm like, are we seriously going to be funding court cases? Because no, we are not looking to do that. But again, if it's national titles, it's not like they're meant to be recognized outside. It's local titles. Basically, it just says, it's like when you're a provincial arbiter or regional arbiter, it's a title for arbiters, but it is not recognized when you go outside, but it doesn't make it useless now, does it? Because it's recognized within. You can run tournaments within South Africa, you can rate tournament within South Africa and so forth. So it's still a title with its own value in its locality, and that's actually what's important. But yeah, in spite of all of those titles, and all of those comments, I guess it will be very interesting to some of you, especially those who are busy thinking, this is just a money-making scheme by Chess South Africa, it's a business and things like that. Rest assured that it is not like that. And who better to confirm such than the man himself, the Ratings Commission chairperson, that is Mr. Gunther van der Berg. He actually got through to me, and he says, you can mention, I saw your video on titles. You can mention in the next, I'm actually quoting him now. You can mention in the next video that there will not be anything to be paid for these titles. So the title will be absolutely free, only merit-based. You see what I mean? So it'll be like you reach a certain level, you reach a certain strength of play, consistently playing at a certain strength, you get your title. So basically that is it. And he continues to say, it's not a money-making scheme. It's an attempt to recognize players who actually perform very well, but who cannot participate internationally due to mainly financial constraints. And he continues, if the proposal to award titles are accepted by Chessa and Council, then they will be awarded similar to what FIDE does. It's going to be strict and difficult to get, which is very interesting. You need to prove yourself as a player, and if you can show consistent top performances, then you will be rewarded. There will be many benefits for titled players. That is something that you like. There will be many benefits for title players. I cannot divulge that now, but otherwise, nice video. Oh, thank you, Gunther. Gunther thinks this was a very nice video. So yeah, that's very interesting. So basically, that's what it is. I think the gist of it is, it's going to be free and it's going to be prestigious. It's going to be merit-based and it's going to have a whole lot of benefit, which is something that we all are happy about. And obviously we can trust Gunther when it comes to such things. It's basically he's the expert in, yeah. So basically that's what it is. And now moving on to the Mzansi Inter-Provincial Chess Championships. Here are some things that I think you didn't know about it. Wait, now did you know that with the Mzansi Inter-Provincial Chess Championships, you are not forced to stay in the official accommodation? Yes, according to Mr. Mahomula, the Joe Mahomula, the chairperson of the LOC, the local organizing committee of the Mzansi Inter-Provincial Youth Chess Championship, players can play anyway. Of course, they're obligated as the LOC to fill the ranch, which is the official accommodation, which is the place where the venue for the tournament. But players are free to play to stay anywhere and travel to the playing venue, which is something very big, because you remember in the MIYCC there were some players from Boxback, from just across the street from the venue of the tournament, but they were forced to stay at the official accommodation place and pay 1,000 or 1,500 rand per day. And if not, they were charged 5,000 rands levy for not staying and for staying in their own houses, in fact. And that was crazy. So obviously there was a lot of uproar about that. And I mean, you would also be upset if you are playing a tournament just here at Mzansi Primary School and you have to go stay there, even though getting there does not take you even 5 minutes. So it will be crazy. But yeah, so I'm sure Limpopo players from Polokwane, Limpopo and all the other local areas will be excited to know that it will be very cheap for them, because the cost of in fact, the cost of attending such national big events are just the registration fee and catering and accommodation. So if you're staying at home, you're still eating what you were going to be eating anyway. So the only costs for you are registration, right? So basically, this is actually a very beautiful thing. So players can play anywhere. And again, you see, we're busy doing some sort of a comparison with him, Mr. Mahomula, just between ourselves. So before, obviously, we do the interview, because we're going to do an interview for your benefit. And we're looking at the following: transportation costs. Transport is always going to be costly. And you remember, the organizers have no control of the cost of transportation, because wherever it is, it just depends on the mode of transportation that you're going to be taking. It's going to stay the same. The cost to get there, it's going to stay the same. Whether the event is in Limpopo, it's in Puluko, it's in Mpumalanga, or it's in the Northwest. Because, I mean, it's meant to rotate in all the other provinces. Because we all know that even if the event was going to be at the Western Cape, it was going to be expensive for people coming from Mpumalanga or Gauteng or other places. If it was going to be in Gauteng, it was going to be expensive for others, just that cost. So we can't calculate that, especially when you try to make a comparison with the SAJCC. Then we'll probably have to move on to the next part, the accommodation. Apparently, the accommodation for the SAJCC in the last few years, it was at Birchwood Hotel, right? So the cost for that, apparently, it's similar to the range cost of accommodation. But maybe the difference is that this one now includes 3 meals, right? Is it 3 meals or 2 meals? Right. So the cost for accommodation, it's similar if you're staying at the official venue, the official accommodation for the event. But it then becomes less, and that means you have the option of paying less for accommodation if now you're going to be staying at the other 3-star hotels that are available, or the 2-star accommodations available, or the 1-star, or even the tent for that camping site that you're going to be that you can actually have the option of staying in. So you're not forced to do that. If obviously they have their responsibility as the organizers to fill up the range, because that's part of the negotiation. But that does not involve you, and that's a beautiful thing about it. It doesn't involve you as a player, as a parent, as a person visiting the venue just to take part in the tournament, just to watch or whatever, right? So yeah, I mean, that's just a beautiful thing. So that could actually make it less costly compared to the SAJCC. And another thing, the third thing, is the fact that the registration fee is much less. Because the registration fee, number one, for the SAJCC, it was one registration, maybe it was 800 or 850 for the team event, and 800 rand for the for the wildcard event, right? That will end up costing you about 1,600 to 1,700 rand. But now with this event, the wild card and the team event are actually one thing. So you're just playing the wild card from day 1 to day 3 or day 4. It's actually 3 days, I believe. Yeah, 3 days of playing, or 4. And then for those days, you are cutting on accommodation costs. That makes it less costly, less expensive. So I think they're winning on that. And secondly, you are playing the wild card, but still now your points are counting towards the team points. So your team is also accumulating points as you play. So you're representing your team while you're also representing yourself, meaning you get to, especially as juniors, and yourself an opportunity to play and to be invited in the SA closed, junior closed, the SAJCC, which is also another beautiful thing about it. So it still comes too much lower cost-wise than the SAJCC. And now another thing is, what did I miss? So yeah, basically that is it. That is actually the things that we actually were able to compare. But now I'm trying to get to this team selection things, especially with the provinces, the regions and provinces, because it seems like it's handled differently from from all the provinces and regions. Basically, for all the provinces. So here's where it becomes interesting. There are some provinces which are simply saying, for instance, let me just make an example of a very simple Gauteng. Apparently Gauteng, and we understand why they're doing what they're doing, because apparently the event itself is not, here's another one thing that I wish to correct before I continue, because I've heard some people speaking about there being an allowance for players who cannot afford. Someone talked of 80% of their costs will be covered. So if that's something like that that is happening, so it's just in your region only. Not in every region, and it's not by the LOC. The LOC does not have any funds to support players who cannot afford. So that's something on the side. But what is happening is in some regions or some provinces are able to are actually applying to have some of their players covered in terms of what's accommodation, catering, and yeah. And yes, and the cost of the attire, the regional attire, you see, so they can look as good as me, representing their provinces. So that's something that's promised by some provinces. For instance, the host province, which is Limpopo. Apparently Limpopo, because they have had, for them it's even easier. They could actually have players qualifying for colors. They have held selections. Apparently in October already, they've had provincial selections. So the teams that were selected in the province, especially the top 10 players from this from those selections, the provincial selections, are the ones that are going to be representing the province in the championship section. And then they'll open up the field for for the B sections, the Rook sections and the Queen sections and so forth and all the other sections. But for the championship sections, it's going to be players that have qualified. And those players, interestingly enough, actually they're looking to actually covering all of their costs, except for obviously the registration fee, which is actually they're working with hand in hand with that government to try and that's actually just information that I'm not meant to be sharing with you, but I'm just saying that at least that's a positive thing. There is some light that there is a province that is going to be covering some of the top players, not making it exclusively an event for those that can afford only. So yes, so that's that province. And Gauteng, apparently they just said, anyone that is available, raise your hand. And there were people raising their hand. Anyone that can afford to pay, raise your hand. And they had enough people raising their hand to say they can pay. And they're like, okay, from those that are available and can pay, let's look at how we can arrange them. Let's say, okay, based on your strength, based on your Grand Prix points, based on your activity, you qualify for the championship sections. Based on this and that, you qualify for the B sections and so forth. And that's how they managed to put their team together. Might be a strong team, it might be a weak team. We don't know. So anyways, if they wanted to have bragging rights as a province, they need to put their money where their mouth is. Right? You see what I mean? If they can't pay for it, then anybody that can pay for it can go there. And if you go there, you paid for yourself, you feel like not playing today, I'm going to skip this round. Sorry. You sleep through the day. I can't tell you anything. I'm joking. You're still paying for the province. Yes. So that's what's happening in Gauteng in terms of the selection. Which other region? So yeah. Wait, and here's an interesting thing. Western Cape, very interestingly, has a selection committee put together. That is a beautiful thing. So they have put up a proper selection criteria which covers all things. Obviously, players that can afford are also very important. But then there's a part where they are also trying to source funds for those that can afford but meet the criteria that have been set. So they are opening it up. So they are not making it exclusively for players who can afford, because they want that strength. They want the stronger players to be there. And they want the players that love the game to also have the opportunity, because they know that as an administration, your responsibility is towards the players, not the players' responsibility to the structure, not the players' responsibility towards the federation. It may be a give and take sometimes, but you were elected in the structure to serve the players. And that is the beautiful thing. And that is why when we come to other provinces like Mpumalanga, There still hasn't been anything communicated to players, to the chess community regarding the Mzansi Inter-Provincial Chess Championships. But apparently they had a meeting with the organizers and they had asked all those questions and they were excited and they even made promises that they want to bring a team. But they haven't even started speaking to the players. And when I spoke to some of the members of the executive committee of Mpumalanga today, they told me that they are only going to have a meeting today to discuss the Mzansi Inter-Provincial Chess Championships. And then afterwards, the secretary will issue an invite to players who are interested. And I'm like, what? And they know that the closing date for the first 30% payment is actually in, in 2-3 days from here. And they know that they need to actually have indicated which sections they are sending players to. And they want people to rush and start talking. They haven't, the thing is, they have never even they haven't even been sharing the information, the poster, or maybe they're just relying on Chess and Wine to make sure that we can count on Eddie to disperse the information so people are aware. But they haven't been engaging regions or even players, clubs on the matter. So that's the one thing. That's another province. And the Northern Cape, we know the Northern Cape has held provincial selections. So that's an interesting thing. That's a beautiful thing because we know they've got a team that will be playing in the championship sections. And those are the top players that have earned the colors through the provincial selections. Remember the one that we cried about saying that they were charging players and so forth? At least it's a selection that happened, even though there are some players that got left out because they couldn't afford it, because it was an exclusive one taking 2-3 days. Had said that it excluded some players who couldn't afford to travel for the 2 days or sleep or book accommodation for such events. But it happened. They had an event that selected, and now they probably, for the other sections, they can just open it up to anybody that can afford. But the championship section still is for players that have that were selected. Free State, I'm sure they're definitely going to. Ben Mina, we'll just call up anybody that can afford to pay. Anybody in the province that wants to come, let's go, because they don't have any proper structure in the Free State. The Northwest, we saw what the Northwest is doing. They're asking regions, please send a list of players who are interested in taking part. That basically just opens it up to everyone. But this is probably just now, it's not necessarily a national event at that caliber, even though it's an event by Chess South Africa nationally. But it's not to say that the players that are going to come up, they will be the national champions. We can't say it like that. Maybe from next year, we'll look into saying that. I heard somebody laughing saying, they call it Mzansi Inter-Provincial Youth Chess Championship, where they've got over 60 sections. They've got a section of over 60 plus players, a senior section. They've got a section for players who are aged 50 and above. And now they want to call it, why don't they just remove the youth and they just call it Mzansi Inter-Regional Chess Championship, Inter-Provincial, Mzansi Inter-Provincial Chess Championship, because it basically covers everybody. But man, I think everybody still needs to come up with the proper criteria, at least a criteria that allows the most number of players to come and take part. We understand right now that it can only be players who can afford to go, because it's not for everyone. Somebody complained that chess is like golf at the top. Only the players that can afford to pay. It doesn't have to be so costly at the top, nationally and things like that. But it is. And that's how it is, and that's why we don't like how it is. But what can we do? So basically that's what's happening with the Mzansi Inter-Provincial Youth Chess Championships. Transportation, Cape Town is taking a train. That's a good thing. At least it's going to be cost effective. And accommodation, you can stay anywhere. You can travel from home with the Mzansi Inter-Provincial Youth Chess Championship. You can stay at a friend's place. You can stay anywhere. So no one is forced, no province is forced to stay in the official accommodation. But we all know that it would be very convenient to stay at the range for everybody, especially when you're coming from afar. You don't want to be staying at a place that is far from the venue. So just book at the range if you can afford to. If you can't, then maybe you can now go stay somewhere else. But we all know, for convenience, it's better to stay there. Yes. So yes, this is Chess and Wine with your updates on the 26th of October, my brother's birthday. It is, the next secular number 3 is coming up with all the details of the event. And hopefully we get a chance to speak to Ms. Mahamulo to clarify some more things, more questions that you may have. But we love the fact that you can stay anywhere and there's various accommodations available. But still, go through your province to book. This is Chess and Wine. This is AD. Good night. Good evening. Bye.